Hello and welcome to Prime Business. I am Pius Kojobaka. This evening, the Bank of Ghana has announced that it has commenced a comprehensive review of its monetary policy framework. The move is part of measures to contain inflation outlook threat. It is also intended to enhance policy transition and allow greater room for credit expansion to the private sector. More in this report.
Addressing members of the Monetary Policy Committee at the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama noted that the current situation shows that the central bank may have to do more to ensure that the current gains are not eroded.
In March, the committee responded decisively to the inflation outlook by raising the policy rate by 100 basis points to 28%. Preliminary evidence right now suggests this action has contributed to dampening inflation momentum. And importantly, the cedi has appreciated sharply by nearly 19% between April and May, helping to ease imported inflation pressures and restoring public confidence. The appreciation of the cedi reflects a combination of factors, including prudent monetary policy, the improved market sentiment, as well as the external sector gains that we are witnessing.
The governor also highlighted some of the major contributing factors to the city's performance over the past months.
We are also seeing encouraging signs of macroeconomic progress. For example, Ghana has reached a staff-level agreement with the IMF regarding the fourth review of the ECF program. And although some prior actions remain outstanding, the trajectory is clearly positive. Now, you also would have heard about the recent S&P upgrade of Ghana's sovereign rating from a selective default to CCC positive, which further affirms this progress. Our external reserves have strengthened.
Meanwhile, economist Dr. John Gachi and Director of the Institute of Economic Affairs, Dr. John Kwache, have been appointed as advisors to the Governor of the Bank of Ghana. They are among 4 other individuals that have been named to support policy-making decisions at the Central Bank. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, gave details of these appointments at the monetary policy meeting today.
3 of them are advisors. The staff are already aware of them. Dr. Kwachi is seated on my left. Please wave to the media so they get to know you. He's not here for IEA. He's here for the bank. He's now an advisor with us, substantive member, part of the family. We also have Professor Gachi, John Gachi, who is a well-known figure. Professor Gachi is one of our advisors. He's here on a mission, and his mission is to help us introduce some other innovation which has to do with non-interest banking. He's going to advise us on how to implement that and to implement it effectively. Then we have Dr. Francis Kuma, a senior, very senior person. He's worked here before many years, left to the IMF, spent all his working life at the IMF, and now retired. And he's still happy to help us. And we are very much happy to have him as part of the family. The last one is our own, Mr. Belnye. Some of you know him as well. I always called him B because he ended up as head of banking supervision. He was also head of the monetary policy unit those days, so he's very comfortable both in terms of monetary policy and also financial stability issues. Gentlemen, you are welcome.
Away from the central bank, economist Dr. Edu Owusu-Sarkodie has urged managers of the economy to consolidate the gains made so far with the macroeconomic fundamentals by boosting the industrial base of the economy to sustain the positive trajectory. He believes the government can leverage on these gains by expanding on exports while reducing imports to allow greater room for credit expansion to the private sector. He spoke to Joy Business.
Yeah, for now, I don't think anybody should panic because all developments from the external sector and the domestic sector look very stable. Externally, we have seen an inflow or increase in cocoa price, inflow of tariffs. Gold price have also increased. I don't know whether we should thank God for that. The dollar has weakened against major trading currencies. Domestically, too, I think the exchange program, both the domestic exchange, the external debt exchange, have all saved the country made some savings from them. IMF program is on course. We've received the tranches from IMF and the World Bank donations. Bank of Ghana has been able to build enough reserves. The gold for reserves program has increased gold reserves from 8 tons to 31 tons. I think for now, things are a bit okay. Even the speculative demand for dollar has died out. I think people are now even doing speculative sales. People are panicking by selling their dollars rather than buying. I think the more sustainable way is to build our export base, as we always say, to industrialize and to increase exportation, reduce importation. That's why many people are surprised about this development because they realize that the structure of the economy hasn't changed that much, and yet we are making these gains. So, going forward, we have to build an industrial base to sustain this. But for now, I think the market is calm and nobody should panic. The business confidence is high, consumer sentiments are also high, and then hopefully prices will be reduced and the disinflation process will speed up for the MPC rates to come down very soon. For even businessmen and men, then everybody can borrow at a lower interest rate. That's what we are all looking for, to expand our businesses and create jobs.
The government of Ghana has received a $174 million capital gains tax payment from Newmont Corporation following the mining giant sale of its Achin mine, which was valued at nearly $1 billion. The amount constitutes a substantial portion of the estimated $220 million tax liability due from the transaction. In a separate payment, Newmont also presented a $50 million check to the government, representing Ghana's carried interest in the deal. More in this report. We sincerely apologize for that loss of sound there. We shall bring you that story subsequently. But let's shift focus to some other stories. Local beverage producer Kasapreko PLC has hinted of plans to list some equities on the main market of the Ghana Stock Exchange. Well, this is part of moves by the company to increase growth and scale up investments across the continent. Chief Executive of Kasapreko, Richard Ejay, disclosed this to some shareholders and the investor community during the presentation of the facts behind the figure series organized by the Ghana Stock Exchange. More in this report.
Kasapreko has maintained an impressive growth trajectory since its listing on the fixed income market, with 2024 revenue going by 45% year-on-year to 2.7 billion Ghana cedis, driven by strong domestic sales and rising export demand. Speaking to the investor community at the fact behind the figure series, Managing Director for Kasapreko, Richard Ejay, disclosed that the board has given approval for listing equity shares onto the main market by the end of this year.
And this year, thanks to the board members and shareholders, we also have approval to list equity on the Ghana Stock Exchange on the main market. So, and our rangers, I'll say special thanks to CBG for advising us to come onto the market, onto the capital market side. So as I said, one of the main goals is more or less to prepare the business for the next stage. Currently, as small shareholders, we cannot take on the African continent alone.
Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Abnamwa, used the occasion to urge investors to support Kasapreko in its quest to expand and contribute to economic growth.
How do we support Ghanaian businesses with their long-term economic and transformation growth to hire more people, to produce the goods and services that we need, and also to support our pensions sector, our savers. All of us are workers contributing into Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 pension schemes. What is that money being used for? So it can guarantee a good future, a good pension for us, and abate the poverty that we see when many of us go on pensions.
Kasapreko's growth momentum continued into the first quarter of 2025, with revenue up 52% and profit after tax climbing 184%.
The Venture Capital Trust Fund is stepping up its support for local businesses as part of a renewed push to reduce unemployment in the country. Speaking at a media briefing on its 20th anniversary impact report, Chief Executive Michael Abbey said the fund is focused on helping promising SMEs grow, scale, and generate sustainable jobs.
You've mentioned the possibility, and in some few weeks or months to come, establishing the Ejumera Fund at the Trust Fund. And the fund is supposed to support Government of Ghana's Ejumera program initiative. And I believe many of you are aware that the Ejumera program is to nurture, grow 10,000 startups annually. At the Trust Fund level, we are creating this pot to support startups complementing the Ejumera program's effort. Again, and just yesterday, for instance, we had a very good meeting with the 24-hour Economy Secretariat of the Presidency, and we are looking at also establishing the 24-hour Economy SME Equity Fund. And this is also to support businesses that would want to scale, operate 24/7 within the 24-hour Economy program. Of course, we have an ongoing partnership with the Ministry of Communication under the Ghana Digital Acceleration Project, which we are seeking to leverage that and set up the Technology Innovation Fund to support tech startups. So yes, the future is exciting, and there are very interesting programs we shall be unleashing very soon.
In more business news, Republic Bank Ghana and EcoBank Ghana have provided financial support through the National Partnership for Children's Trust to provide scholarships to 15 brilliant but needy children. The gesture will see some of the children complete secondary school and assist the rest to go through tertiary education. The following report has more.
At a ceremony to present the scholarship awards to the beneficiaries at the head office of Republic Bank Ghana, the chairman of the Board of Trustees of the National Partnership for Children's Trust, Roland Akosa, said the annual scholarship award is intended to help shape their future.
My expectation is that each one of them will develop their talent to their highest potential. And then, given that skill that they have, they will go out there and first support themselves and their immediate family, and also be a contributor, each one of them, to the community in which they live. That's the whole essence of democracy. So we want them to be effective citizens, enlightened ones, of course, so that you are prepared, because you can go back, as Mr. Larry Addo's example shows, that little scholarship he had many years ago, okay, is the reason why he has made this as part of his life's mission, to support other children he doesn't even know. Mrs. Judith Sawyer, a white American who couldn't have cared if she had chosen, and nobody would have held her accountable, feels it is important to go out to the schools and help us identify kids who have the potential to do well for themselves and for society.
The Chief Operating Officer of Republic Bank, Venice Francis Frith, in his remarks said their partnership was part of the financial institution's corporate social responsibility and quest to support the development of children.
We are especially proud because this partnership is not just about funding. It is about investing in the future of Ghana. These scholarships represent hope. They represent belief in your intelligence, your ambition, and your resilience. Every cedi we commit is a declaration that we see your worth and we believe in your journey. To the scholars here today, you are not defined by your challenges. You are defined by your courage to rise above each and every one of them.
Past beneficiaries who have finished universities and working expressed their profound gratitude to the trust and encourage the student to stay focused, set realistic goals, and work hard at them.
The Office of the Registrar of Companies says its administrative role in salvaging companies in financial distress is actively being rolled out for protection of local businesses. Under the Corporate Insolvency and Restructuring Act 2020, the Registrar of Companies is empowered to have registered insolvency practitioners to aid in administration of companies on the brink of collapse. Acting Registrar of Companies, Mami Sama Pipra, says the office is working towards protecting investments as part of efforts to grow the local economy. Nanaya Ojima has more in this report.
Exercise enforcing the...
I do appreciate the difficulty we have now with a lot of middlemen in the system. I think 2 years ago, we started procurement of a new app which will allow people to register their businesses from their household. Easy access. It's being tested. It will be piloted, and soon will make registration of businesses very easy. You are able to download your certificate.
We sincerely apologize for that as well, but we have to take this story. The Department of Herbal Medicine of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology is offering training to herbal medicine producers to improve standards and efficacy to compete on the global market. The World Health Organization projects the global market for herbal products will be worth $5 trillion by 2050. President of the Herbal Medicine Practitioners Association, Dr. Solomon Apiakubi, says the group is working with the university for ISO certification to gain acceptability on international markets. Anaya Ojima once again.
It is estimated 951 tons of good herbal medicines were sold on Ghana's herbal market in 2010, with a total value around $7.8 million. Though these products are gaining acceptability, a large population of the country are yet to accept herbal products. Head of Herbal Medicine Department at KNUST, Professor Isaac Kingsley Amponsa, says there is need for researchers to partner industry in ensuring herbal medicine is safer for the public.
And I think that with where our practitioners want to go, we owe them a duty that, having brought science and technology into herbal medicine practice, now we want to help them improve their formulation for the efficacy to go up with low toxicity or very safe profiles, so that we can integrate them conveniently into our healthcare system. Although some are being integrated, I think we can do more.
The training at KNUST will equip practitioners with extraction techniques, which will ensure products are disease-specific and efficacious. Dr. Solomon Apiakubi says the engagement will expose the side effects of herbal medicines for a better appreciation by researchers in chemical medicine.
How do we isolate only the two compounds and leave the chaff? By so doing, we increase the concentration. So instead of taking, let's say, 2 capsules morning, 2 capsules evening, just take 1 morning, 1 evening. Because now this one is it's isolated, only the compound. So the concentration, the efficacy also goes up. So that's the first reason why we are here. By so doing, we also minimize the side effects. Because the terpenoids and phytosterols or coumarins, which are not responsible for the activity, you've taken all those things out. So the first thing for the reason is to isolate the particular compound in the plant and use that one purposely for the production of what the intended purposes.
Meanwhile, the Dean of Faculty of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences, Professor Samuel Asarenkansa, says in ensuring the sustainability of herbal medicine production, research will be conducted into medicinal purposes of other plants.
Whatever is responsible for the activity in the medicinal plants is what we call secondary metabolites. And it is not only one plant that has a particular secondary metabolite that can be useful for the treatment of other conditions. And so with this collaboration, what we are also going to have is research and development. And so through that, we can help the manufacturers to know that there can be other plants that can do similar work as what they have known all these while.
I'd like to take you back to our earlier story where I was telling you about the government of Ghana receiving $134 million capital gains tax payment from Newmont Corporation following the mining giant sale of its Achim mine, which was valued at nearly $1 billion. More in this report. At a brief ceremony in Accra, the Minister of Finance, Dr. Kasiela Tuforsen, received the payments on behalf of the state and lauded Newmont for its tax compliance and transparent conduct. The Finance Minister also gave assurances of government's commitment to addressing long-standing infrastructure concerns in mining communities. He made specific reference to the poor state of the Kumasi-Kenyasi Road, a critical route serving areas affected by mining activities. Dr. Forsen announced that formal discussions would begin immediately with the Ministry of Roads and Highways to rehabilitate the road, adding that the project is expected to be completed within 12 to 18 months. The payment marks a significant boost to Ghana's domestic revenue efforts and reflects the government's renewed push to ensure that resource-based transactions deliver tangible benefits to the state and affected communities. And this time around again, I would like to take you to our earlier story about the Office of the Registrar of Companies saying its administrative role in salvaging companies in financial distress is actively being rolled out for protection of local businesses. Anaya Ojima has more.
Corporate Insolvency and Restructuring Act aims at sustaining businesses to protect investments. Mostly, the companies facing liquidation are offered restructuring and other administrative options over immediate liquidation. The Insolvency Services Division of the Office of the Registrar of Companies oversees practices of registered insolvency practitioners in the process. Mame Samapepra is Acting Registrar of Companies.
Previously, we used to only think of liquidation where businesses are going down. Then they think about just liquidating it. But with the new act, the Office of the Registrar of Companies is able to administer the company. So we have registered insolvency practitioners who are able to come and see whether they can sustain the companies for some time. So this is something new that we also want out there for people to know about, so that you don't think that your company is always going down and under just by not being able to fulfill some financial obligations. We are able to support and ensure that you run things smoothly.
The acting registrar noted processes to digitalize registration operations are advanced to ease difficulty in business registration and other processes. The Registrar of Companies has also announced plans to ensure compliance procedures, which include renewal of permits and filing of annual returns. The office has commenced a field exercise aimed at enforcing the regulations.
I do appreciate the difficulty we have now with a lot of middlemen in the system. I think 2 years ago, we started procurement of a new app which will allow people to register their businesses from their household. Easy access. It's being tested. It will be piloted and soon will make registration of businesses very easy. You are able to download your certificate without having necessarily traveled to our offices.
Ashanti Regional Minister Dr. Frank Amwakohene commended the ORC's efforts and underscored the importance of these initiatives in enhancing the business environment in the region.
It also comes to bring to light that we should reach out more, so that people will understand the services we provide and the need for them to actually register with us. And also let them know that the process is not that cumbersome.
For Joy News, Nana Ojima, Kumasi.
Now, that's it for the bulletin, but I've got to bring you the story. Deputy Minister of Food and Agriculture, John Dumelo, has commended the European Union and GIZ for their unwavering support to the agricultural sector here in Ghana. There is more from Rafiq Salam.
The European Union and the GIZ have supported the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, for that matter, the government, with a grant agreement to strengthen post-harvest management through supporting warehouses operations. A key activity in the GIZ grant signed last year was to conduct a need assessment of warehouses in the joint program area in the Upper West and 3 adjoining regions. Deputy Minister of Food and Agriculture, John Dumelo, disclosed that 57 warehouses were assessed and 27 were successful.
Based on transparent and well-defined selection criteria such as equipment gaps, scale of operations, and the number of smallholder farmers served, inclusion of women-led facilities and strategic locations, a total of 27 warehouses were duly identified as successful beneficiaries. It is my belief that today's handing over of these equipment to deserving beneficiaries will go a long way to strengthening post-harvest management of agricultural produce and strengthening the value chains in this beautiful Upper West region. The equipments include 32 moisture meters, 130 plastic and 120 wooden pallets, 32 digital weighing scales, 15 extensible metallic ladders, 27 bag stitches, 27 test weights, and 31 trampolines.
John DeMiro thanked the European Union and the GIZ for the warehouses grant to beneficiaries and their unwavering support for the agriculture sector, enumerating some of them.
The EU, through the EU GAP, has supported the northwestern part of Ghana by improving agric practices, boosting productivity, and enhancing market access for farmers. The EU GAP has supported key value chains such as rice, sorghum, granite, soya bean, vegetables, mango, and cashew, while training 70,000 people, including many women, on a good agricultural practices gap.
Upper West Region Minister, Lawyer Charles Wonga Pozung, asserted that the warehouses will serve as a critical intervention to reduce post-harvest losses, promote effective storage and distribution systems, and ultimately enhance incomes and livelihoods of working farmers.
This grant arrangement is not just timely, it is transformational. The chiefs and people of the Upper West region appreciate your effort. Ladies and gentlemen, let us be reminded that agriculture in this era cannot thrive without strategic partnerships and evidence-based innovations. In this region and across Ghana, we continue to embrace the principles of sustainability, modernization, and market-oriented agriculture. The equipment we are receiving today will directly empower our farmer groups, enhance food security, and contribute significantly to our national agricultural development strategy.
Elvis Mensah Bonsu is the GIZ Ghana component manager of agribusiness.
Trainings have been rolled out for warehouse and pack house operators.